Hi guys, we're Team 4. 2020 has been a crazy year introducing problem after problem. However, amongst problems often lie opportunities. We would like to discuss an opportunity that we have explored as a result of COVID. COVID-19 has disrupted the traditional food and agriculture supply chains with an increase in food demand leading to an increase of food production. There is opportunity for growth in the new age tech farming industry to provide supply for this demand through vertical farming in a sustainable manner. Using the UN Sustainability Goals as a guide, our team aims to look at the practical use of tech agriculture in a post-COVID world to reduce the use of resources and support smallholder farmers' ability to increase food production through this new method.
The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way society lives, shop and consume. This is expected given that consumer habits typically evolve over time. However, it does raise the question on whether such behaviours will remain or will they be dropped. Focusing on New Zealand's production food system, COVID-19 magnified the demand for many categories and products. Kiwis flooded to supermarkets to panic buy, creating national-wide stock issues. In the peak of lockdown, value growth increased by 25% compared to the previous year. Although today normality begins to return, the growth in demand remain high as new consumption habits have been established. Traditional agricultural supply is at the focal point of increased consumption. To meet the increased consumer demands, unsustainable production processes need to be expanded, which is extremely damaging to the environment. Based on evidence, the environmental impacts of our supply chains is already very obvious in New Zealand. We have damaged ecosystems, depleted fish stocks, soil degradation, and have faced significant loss of biodiversity. At the rate New Zealand is consuming, it is expected that there are more negative changes still to come. The statistics shown are environmental proof of the unsustainable impacts traditional agricultural production chains are causing across New Zealand.
With COVID-19, many countries are affected by high food insecurity due to a disrupted supply chain caused by traditional farms. So for possible alternatives, and following the UN Sustainability Goals, the alternatives would ideally need to use less water and chemicals, make crops less vulnerable to changes in the climate, and produce more reliable yields. Many current companies in the US have alternatives to traditional farming on a 2D plane, with vertical farming using 3 dimensions of space, building farms on top of each other to conserve space using a structure called a tower garden. Many of these companies vary in specifics but produce similar results with a reduction of at least 90% water usage in space. True Garden, for example, doesn't use soil but uses coconut coir mixture, making pesticides unnecessary, while a 300 square meter Square Roots farm can yield crops similar to a traditional 3 to 4 acre farm. These aeroponic farms can be used in urban areas and are not climate dependent, allowing for more freedom and specialization. Alternatives include organic farming using minimal chemicals for low cost and small growers as a way to prevent water pollution and environmental damage, a majority of them being in Australia due to biodiversity. Research even shows that organic farms produce more yield compared to traditional farms. Another possible alternatives is the adoption of regenerative farming, a holistic change of traditional farms operations to make it more sustainable. The main difference would be that traditional farming deteriorates soil, while regenerative farming uses ethical changes to minimize soil aggregation using principles of crop rotation.
Our solution is centered around the concept of vertical farming. Vertical farming involves growing crops in vertically stacked layers, close together and within controlled environments. Our solution will incorporate vertical farms into the urban cities of New Zealand, allowing for rapid distribution of fresh vegetables and fruits. These farms can be set up through either new construction projects or through the acquisition and repurposing of old warehouses and buildings. The insulated environment of a vertical farm will allow for variables such as water, nutrients, and lighting to be managed and controlled, resulting in a roughly 150% increase in crop growth rates. Working indoors will also have its benefits, as bad weather will no longer be a factor, allowing for year-round growth and for certain foods to be produced out of season. Our solution will allow year-round crop production, the ability to reuse resources through cycles of crop growth, solar-powered energy, reduced use of water and resources, as well as increased crop yields. By introducing vertical farming into New Zealand, we will be able to ethically tackle issues surrounding COVID-19 whilst positively impacting the environment. Our solution will reduce the amount of natural resources being used for farming, whilst increasing the total amount of food being produced. In addition to increasing total crop yields, vertical farming will also reduce the amount of farmland being used, which could decrease deforestation and potentially decrease pollution. Vertical farming also uses 95% less water, which, as an additional benefit, will help with Auckland's current water shortages.
A few stakeholders impacted by our solution are farmers, fresh produce companies, supermarket customers, and supermarkets. For farmers, the smart technology in agricultural technology can control and manage how produce is grown and therefore allow high quality and fresh produce to be grown and sold. In relation to fresh produce companies, less is spent on overseas imports due to the ability to buy from local farmers. The general public or supermarket customers can easily access a wider range of products without worrying about it running out of stock. In terms of supermarkets, produce is easy to access and therefore results in improved management of fresh foods. The impact that our solution will have environmentally is that the use of natural resources like water and land will decrease and therefore minimize the occurrences of issues such as soil degradation and water shortage. There will also be less food shortages in the future as businesses will now be more prepared in relation to how to better manage food supply in the pandemic situation.